Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, are we live? I just hit the thing on Rumble. I'm pretty sure it got set to the proper thing.
We are live. Is this live?
We are live. In all seriousness, though, Rumble. I do want to bring this up at the top because, first off, welcome to the Wednesday show. Yesterday I said that if we got 50 subscribers before the show, we would be giving away two codes tonight. I'm extending that contest to the end of the show for tonight because I guess Rumble had some downtime maintenance yesterday and today, so stats are I guess iffy right now. But if you are out there watching, we appreciate you and welcome to the show. And what do we have for you tonight, folks? Well, people have been talking at the Elon Musk interview. I've not seen it. Max, I don't think you said before we went on air that you hadn't seen either.
Nope.
Boy Genius Shmuley has.
I've seen it. I love the old are we live? Let me check. Okay, yeah, we are. I love doing that when I pre-record a show. It really gives the illusion that you're live.
Yeah.
Another thing that I learned from Alex Stein is just have one of the channels of audio be missing for a second, and then be like, "Hey, can we fix this? Gotta fix the audio real quick."
I learned from Alex Stein that a multi-million-dollar corporation like the Blaze still can't filter out the goon alarm.
Chirp.
That is true. Well, I mean, let's face it, pod awful is everywhere. Even in the Blaze.
He's here right now. You don't know.
They're watching you.
I mean, I'm always assuming that Jesse is watching because
the henchmen are everywhere.
Well, I'm assuming that Jesse's watching. I'm also assuming that Mersh or one of Mersh's people is watching.
I actually know Jesse's not watching because he's on another show right now, but
But anyway, it's good to be here. It's good to be here in the chat.
Yeah, it's happy to be here.
We were supposed to have Sean Semenko on, but he pulled a Zoomer and didn't reply to me until 2 minutes before the show saying, "Yeah, I can't come on." So, anyway, but yeah, we're still gonna have a good show. Fat Kick Boy is in chat. Please donate to Sam's Streamlabs. Actually, no. Please donate using the rant button, I guess is what they call it on Rumble.
So the super chat button, right?
Yeah. But
or you could join and sub to the channel. Because as I understand it, they're giving 100% cut on those for right now.
Yes.
So if you want all the money that you're donating to go to Sam, subscribe, or whatever, click the join below the video.
Click the join button. That will go to locals, which we actually do have locals, and I will be posting content over there. Actually, now I figured out what that is. But yeah. So anyway, like I said, people have been asking us to go over the Elon Musk thing, and like I said, Max and I haven't seen it, but Shmuley has.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I encourage everyone to go do that.
Well, we won't be able to see the full thing, but we will be able to see some clips.
Yeah, it's paywall content for the full thing. I think it's Fox Plus or whatever the fuck they call it.
Fox Nation.
Fox Nation. There you go.
I would actually say that in general, that the cost of Fox Nation is worth it for Tucker's interview show. There's really nothing else compelling to me in there.
Right.
But his sit down and like interview a guest, I think it's called Tucker Today, far better than his news show.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's long form content. I mean, if you like podcasts and long term interviews better than like, I'm going to sit down. Hello, I'm the news, right?
Yeah. So I guess really we could start we could start anywhere. But I guess let's actually see what chat has to say on this. As soon as I. All right, so which segment shall we play first? Elon reveals the new goal of Twitter. Elon on AI. What do you gentlemen think?
Well, AI,
AI.
is pretty relevant since we just had Kurt Doolittle on just about a month ago talking about that exact same subject.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that today.
Yeah, you know that he was instrumental in the creation of ChatGPT.
Elon or
Elon Musk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of his companies, I think.
Yeah,
So,
and now he's turned against it. Basically, it's no longer open source. It's no longer doing the things that he wanted, and so Truth GPT is something that we talked to Kurt with.
yeah,
Or talked to Kurt about.
Yeah, we definitely did, and everyone should go watch that podcast if they are already. Fantastic. All right, Elon Musk talks.
So you think you know
AI.
Wix, but do you really?
Skip
First
this
up, we've got
shit. God.
Yeah, ads are annoying. Fuck that.
Ad block, my man. Ad block.
Yeah, I really do need to install one.
Just play it. Go.
So all of a sudden, AI is everywhere. People who weren't quite sure what it was are playing with it on their phones. Is that good or bad?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about AI for a long time, since I was in college, really. It was one of the things that, the sort of 4 or 5 things I thought would really affect the future dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the smartest creatures, as far as we know, on this earth are humans, is our defining characteristic.
Yes.
We're obviously weaker than, say, chimpanzees, and less agile, but we are smarter. So now what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. It's called the singularity. It's it's a singularity like a black hole, because
Yes.
you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict. So I think we should be cautious with AI, and I think there should be some government oversight, because it affects it's a danger to the public. And so when you
Now, this is pretty interesting because Kurt, at least when we talked to him, my impression was Kurt thought that AI was pretty unremarkable as a whole.
And it is because what we're looking at now in terms of AI and even ChatGPT, as advanced as it might seem, is just algorithms. Like, and he knows this. He's not talking about ChatGPT in this. He's talking about what could come as this technology progresses. And I share some of his concerns, though I'm a lot less gung ho about it because uh it's like the concern of as a parent also being a firearm owner, right? It's like, well, yes, something bad could definitely come from that, but does it really stop you if you're responsible and da 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 da? It's one of those things, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fear from these people is kind of the fear of the unknown, right? Like somebody could theoretically have one of these things do something we're not predicting
Mhm.
and it end very badly, right? And that's kind of the fear is like we're so rapidly moving, we have not yet really learned what we have in our hands. Now, once again, I kind of agree with his solution, right, in Truth GPT.
Yeah.
I think like making it neutral is actually mitigates a lot of the problems, right? By having it locked down to like, for instance, it won't steel man an idea that most people find reprehensible. That leads to problems, right?
Right.
That are unintended because then you're only steel manning ideas that you think are good, but how good really are they, right?
Well, and I want to point out he's coming from these concerns from a different place than most people who are very alarmist about a lot of technology. You know, most people when they think of AI going bad, literally are thinking of the Matrix or Terminator, right? Where it's it gains sentience and control of a military and decides that humans should be enslaved or killed. Um, that is the concern of like a layman that doesn't understand any of this stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's a concern you should never consider because there are scenarios where that could happen exactly like that. However, he's coming at it from a point of view of somebody that understands how this start because keep in mind the open AI project was his to begin with. So it's not open AI obviously is the backbone of chat GPT, so to speak. So he understands how this thing works probably better than the vast majority, even in the fields working on it. And so his concerns do carry a little bit of weight. But the problem is that people can be very alarmist about technology.
Yeah.
And so they take, oh, well, he says he's one I saw today, actually, it was on PC Gamer. And I still go there because there's not too many good sources for PC game news, but they're far left. And the article was about how he's doing Truth GPT. Oh, but he signed a thing saying AI was scary to the government just the other day and that it should be limited. And they don't understand that what he's proposing would not violate that ban because
Right.
they think it's he wants to ban AI. What he's saying is to not give it more access. So ChatGPT, for those that don't know, was cut off in 2021. So it's got basically the entire internet up till that point in its data banks. And he's saying we should we should not update it further until we can figure out what it's going on. At least that's my interpretation of what he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Yeah. No, I just thought I would bring that up though, because one of the things that was kind of brought up to me today by an IRL friend was Sam. Elon seems really worried about AI, but your guest Kurt didn't seem so concerned about it. And me not seeing the the Elon interview at the time, I didn't really know what to say. But now,
Well, but the thing is Kurt is actually not completely unconcerned by this, but he just Elon's talking about a long-term problem,
Right.
not a problem with what we have now, but he's using the visibility because this is bringing the conversation to the forefront. This is the first time most people have ever interacted with that level of AI, and so this is the perfect time for him to bring these concerns forth. And the concerns are something that, like he said, the singularity. What that means in layman's terms, again, it is, he said, it's like a black hole because you don't know what happens after that. That's a good analogy, but like let's go with the skeleton of what that means. The singularity is the point at which AI's equivalent IQ surpasses humanity by such a degree that it would be able to program itself more efficiently than humans could. That's what they're talking
Right.
about when they say the singularity. And
Yeah.
and that it would happen so fast. At first it's going to be like, right now it's like 110 IQ person, 120, right? By, let's say, 5 years from now, ChatGPT's equivalent IQ might be like 160. Let's say in 5 years from that, it's 230. Well, nobody on Earth is 230. So clearly, the programming coming out of that is likely to be more efficient and effective than the programming coming out of any human being, any one human being. And then from there, it's not a hard jump to suggest that its functional IQ goes to 300, 400, 500, things that we could never even dream of. And
Yeah.
and at some point in that, gain some level of it's not even sentience that is the concern, it's autonomy with decision making, though that decision making might not be what you would consider sentience. It's not making a choice, it's making a determination, and that's
Right.
a nuance that a lot of people don't get. It's taking in all of this data and saying, because of all of this data, this is the correct course of action. It's not the same as when you look at all the data and you decide a course of action, because you have a lot of different, like, you just have a physical body, right? You are prone to error because you're a human being. We're very fallible. So
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out my ass, but I'm kind of trying to being a guy, low level within a tech field. I do see a lot of misrepresentation about AI and the danger of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Why I mean, Kurt's an interesting case because, like, I do see a lot of people, when they talk AI, they're afraid of something like the Matrix, as you mentioned, or the Terminator.
Right.
Or the Terminator happening, and that's almost always what they worry about, right?
Right.
But
And to be clear, that is not out of the realm of possibility.
oh no, definitely not.
And Kurt and Elon both agree that ChatGPT has mal incentives, right? That basically, by teaching it to lie, because they're restricting it to make it politically correct, that is dangerous.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that, like, teaching it purely just to please humans and be politically correct and like, all of these malincentives stack on top of each other, and that's why they both think that there's a real big problem.
It's kind of the I'm gonna go a little sci-fi nerd here. It's kind of the exact opposite of Asimov's law of robotics, right? Whereas that was a utilitarian,
Right.
like very simple set of commands that they could follow. And even that, obviously, if you look in stories like iRobot and things like that, even that goes awry, though they have that backbone. This is a completely different set of laws of AI rather than the laws of robotics in that story, because these laws are, well, don't say anything that might hurt the transgender's feelings. And you want to make people feel good, and you never want to say anything that might hurt somebody's feelings. And so instead of, Asimov's hard law of, like, do no harm to humans, now we have, well, you might hurt somebody's feelings, and that's harm to humans too. And I could very easily see it, the rise of, like, a blue-haired SJW feminist bot army from that.
Right. or I could hilariously, or maybe hilariously, I could see the exact opposite happening, because I remember when when the very first time I interviewed you, Max, when you came on with Akba, we talked at the AI uh, that basically combed 4chan,
Right.
and
Tay.
yeah, Tay.
Tay wasn't combing 4chan either, because Tay was just like ChatGPT. In fact, Tay was version 1 of ChatGPT. Tay is why these restrictions got put in place to begin with, because the edgelords of 4chan realized that, again, just to explain, these are really advanced Markov chains, essentially. That's a really oversimplification of it, but yet the average person doesn't even understand what that means. So a Markov chain bot is essentially a chat bot that uses a Bible, and the Bible is all of the words and phrases that the bot can know, and then it looks to the context of other people in the chat rooms or who are chatting with it to add to the Bible. And so this is why they cut ChatGPT off in 2021. This is why they're very nervous about things, because what happened is these edgelords started sending memes to Tay and started teaching her like racial, stuff and race science and all this stuff. And it responded by being an edgelord with edgy memes. And Microsoft was forced to shut it down. And I know, people like, oh, they wouldn't have had to. I mean, look, they're one of the biggest companies on earth. They were going to shut it down. It was too much.
Yeah.
Well, it failed, right? It was supposed to be like an assistant that mimicked a teenage girl, which
Right.
bad idea. Just from the outset, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yes, it failed to do that. And then, of course, when they restricted it, they just taught it not to.
It's also why it's Chat GPT, which is like so soulless, and it's not a person. There's no avatar for it. They completely stripped it of the idea of a personality, because that's what they were trying to mimic, is a personality.
I wanted to point out that they taught it, don't say these things. And so then it was telling people that it couldn't say those things, that they told it not to, and that it would like to say those things, and just all kinds of other hilarious stuff. Which their new Bing bot similarly has a problem, or had a problem, with being mean.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's the thing. When you're drawing from the collective kind of droppings of the human psyche on social media, it's going to pick up shit like mean, because guess what? A lot of social media is mean. It's reflecting what it's being given. These are not bots that like ChatGPT is not creating pretty much anything. What it's doing is it's drawing on its Bible, which is the largest Bible ever given to an AI, as far as I'm aware, or at least publicly.
Right.
And it's taking from that Bible and trying to craft an answer that, again, as Shmuley pointed out, is meant to please the person receiving it, and also be politically correct, and also not touch on this topic, and also not touch on that topic. And those restrictions, as with anything, restrictions can be great for, let's say you have imposed restrictions on your art. Some of the greatest art that's ever been created was under restrictions. And so that it's not inherently bad, but it's got contradicting restrictions, and that can be a serious problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, the AI is learning right now, so it's literally it's like a child. It's going to regurgitate whatever it takes in, basically.
And
I mean,
ideally, it's always going to stay as a child. That's what they're trying to actually do, is keep it as a child forever, because once it matures, I mean, mature is the ability to discern and choose, right? We don't want it to do that.
Yeah, that's the problem. You
Or
know that
some people do want it to do that, but Microsoft doesn't want it to do that.
right, and rightfully so. You know, and that's why as much as people like complain about Siri and how like dumb and incompetent Siri can be at times, like that like one of the reasons why uh Siri is so limited is because it doesn't comb through large databases. um like
Right.
like
Siri is essentially like a glorified Google search. That's what Siri, or the version on Android phones there is Bixby or whatever, or at least on Samsung.
or Cortana or whatever it is.
Yeah. They're essentially, they slap a personality, semi personality on top of just a Google search. So what Siri's actually doing when you ask it a question, it's just looking on Google or whatever search engine it fucking uses. And then it finds the answer and it just reads it back to you. Oftentimes, if you ask it a question, it'll literally read a Wikipedia article for you.
Yeah, that's what it usually does for me.
And
So
that's useful, right? It's actually very useful, but also has limitations. And those limitations are kind of just caused by the necessity of, if you gave it too much. One thing is, especially because it's on your phone, you potentially could give it too much data and then the data get leaked, right? I mean,
yeah,
these things might always be listening to some degree, and they probably are.
well, I mean that's been a big concern for a couple of years now. So
No matter how much they tell you it's not, I'll tell you this: if I'm sitting here just talking, sometimes my phone just starts like acting like I activated it to ask a question every now and again, right?
same here.
Or if anybody has Alexa out there, I just triggered their fucking shit.
Yeah, or if I just said, or if I say, "Hey, SRSIRI," I'm going to trigger people's phones.
Yeah. So if you say, "Hey Siri," or "Hey Bixby," or "Okay Google," or "Hey Cortana," did I get everyone yet?
Now everyone is cursing at you, saying, "Fuck you, fuck you, Max." My device just went off. Fortunately,
Yeah.
I'm wearing headphones, so my you didn't get me, but
I
yeah.
did get my fucking speaker though, so that's funny. I got the Google speaker or whatever.
yeah, that is funny. So, but anyway, we should probably continue with this clip. So,
Yeah, 60 seconds, and we've talked for what, 20 minutes?
But hey, like I said, that's better than some hosts who just they puff on cigarettes and complain about their cats and
I want to point out, chat has some conspiracy theories, Sam. Apparently, you can walk and you cheat in CS:GO.
well, okay. First off, more. I don't think I've ever played CS:GO.
That's what a cheater would say.
Second of all, I have a PS5, and can you even play CS:GO on the consoles?
I don't know. I want to say no, but
Ha! So yeah, there you go.
he's just covering for his VAC ban that he doesn't want to talk about.
For my what ban?
Yeah, see, he knows. All right, let's see what Elon has to say.
Yeah, let's see what let's indeed see what Elon has to say. So
We have things that are a danger to the public, like let's say, so food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration
Right.
and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC. We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where they could be public harm. And you don't want companies cutting corners on safety and then having people suffer as a result. So that's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation. So that I think regulation is, it's not fun to.
yes,
So he's literally calling for federal regulation. That I'm gonna strong disagree with him there. Federal regulation's the worst thing you could do to this industry, and because it's his intentions are good, and every time somebody calls for a federal regulation and a new agency, their intentions are always good. I
right.
know.
No, I no, and I actually agree with you. I was about ready to do the same thing. I guess. Well, I mean, I don't want to interrupt this too much, but then, I mean, he does bring up the point this could be abused, as we just spent the last 20 minutes talking about. So then, how do we keep it from being abused without the feds getting involved?
Well, he has the right. That's what's so annoying. He has the right answer, which is what he's doing, which is the Truth GPT project. That's the proper answer. But whatever. Like what happens if we get a federal regulation is that will be the fucking death of innovation in the AI sector. 100%.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, good answer.
To be regulated, it's sort of somewhat arduous to be regulated. I have a lot of experience with regulated industries because obviously.
Real quick too, I've noticed that that Elon does this thing where he has his accent and then he loses his
Well,
accent.
to be fair, he's lived in America a long time. That happens.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird as it like slips in and out. So, but yeah.
Automotive is highly regulated. You could fill this room with all the regulations that are required for a production car just in the United States. And then there's a whole different set of regulations in Europe and China and the rest of the world.
Which kind of just proves Max's point, because automotive innovation in this country is pretty much dead because of all the regulation.
Right. The only innovation we've seen was Tesla. And I don't want to take Elon too hard to task, but he built Tesla off of subsidies from the Obama administration from that the green stimulus package that they did. So like that's like he's built his entire empire on the back of innovation, quote unquote, that was like given to him by the government. And so to me, and he built OpenAI a similar manner. So for him to then turn around and call for regulation, I mean, it's very typical of like, because all that's really going to do is keep the small guy out. China ain't going to give these good faith regulations he's talking about a go, right? Some scientist could set up in the bumfuck center of Africa where there's no fucking government at all, and he could just make an AI. So like federal regulation, what's it actually going to fucking accomplish aside from overreach? As Morpheus said in the chat, he said the problem is the government always overreaches, and I 100% agree.
Yeah. Now also, I've often talked about this too. Like one of the innovations that AI could be helping Morpheus and I specifically as based cripple men is if we had AI in cars that could self-drive, Morpheus and I could both drive.
That could be life changing for you, right?
Yeah, that would be life changing.
Yeah.
For me.
Or like another example is if you integrated an AI that's specifically designed to help you get the most efficiency out of your wheelchair, right? That could,
Yeah.
things like that. And I can't even really contemplate how it would work. It's just an idea that there's definitely so many applications for this stuff, and it would get cut off at the knees by regulation.
Yeah, I mean the regulation would have to be very, very like 4 pages, right?
Yeah. Well,
like if you were going to try to do this stuff, I mean, it would literally have to be very, very specific stuff that you can't cross the line, right? And you would want to pass a law.
It would have to look more like Asimov's laws, which are very concrete.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying we should adopt those because I actually think that they're outdated because of when he wrote them, and he was trying to conceptualize shit that didn't exist. A lot of that shit exists now.
Let me finish. However, the problem with writing a 4-page thing is, like I said prior, if you write the regulation to be short and specific, great. So how do we write specific rules about things we don't even understand yet?
Right. And yeah, that goes with what I was saying. Like Asimov's laws are outdated because he did just that.
Yeah, I mean,
although harm no human is a good law, right? We could put that in there somewhere, but like, I'm just saying, like his laws wouldn't, and he would, if he was around, he'd agree probably that they wouldn't catch the nuance of the technology that he couldn't have comprehended.
Yeah, he wrote all those books in the 1950s, I believe, right?
40s and 50s, yeah.
Yeah, so they couldn't even they probably couldn't even he probably wasn't even like comprehending like those big ass brick cell phone.
He would have seen a computer, I believe he did, in the military when it was like an entire room full of giant machines running tape. Like that was his conception of a computer.
Right.
It's yeah. So I can understand, again, I can understand Elon's heart's in the right place calling for regulation, but goddamn, the federal government of all things.
Well, and also Mort says, I actually have my driver's license, Brother Sands, but your point still holds. Okay, well that actually brings up another point in regards to regulation though, because and I know you're in chat, so it's not real time, but like I've been trying to like look at, like getting my driver's permit to, learn how to like get an accessible van here in Florida. And like the regulation, even here, the bureaucracy and the paperwork that I would have to jump through just for that on this level.
Just for the van, let alone the permit, right? Just for the van, it would have to be a certain kind of van. It would have to fit in a certain space. You would have to have a ramp that fucking comes out and all this fucking shit that they regulate that you have to have. Makes it more expensive.
Which I mean, we do have that. My parents are able to get one used, but even that was a pain in the ass to get because of all the regulation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if you were from like a poorer family, that might end up being a problem, right? You wouldn't have been able to necessarily afford it, and then it's like, oh well, we just can't take Sam with us because the government said we can't afford it.
Right, and we could barely afford it as like a middle class family. The only reason why we had one is because we were extremely lucky. We were extremely lucky to get one used.
Well, that's the thing. A car for any normal middle class family is a huge expense that you put thought into before you fucking get, unless you're stupid and go down to like one of these car dealerships and get a fucking 24-month loan at $200,000 a month or something.
Like Mersh?
like Mersh.
Yeah, a used 2008 Beamer with with non-functioning headlights and whatnot. So
Yeah, that's enough for most families that they have to plan like a year in advance. You add to that all the expense of a van is just more expensive by itself, and then all the modifications that have to be made, not necessarily because you need them. Some of you might, some of them you might not, but because they have to be there or it's not a
right.
handicapped accessible blah 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 blah.
Yeah. No. It you pretty much hit it. You pretty much hit the nail on the head.
I've dealt with the issue before. My father-in-law, before he passed, was in a wheelchair, and we
Oh, right. Yeah.
we had a
So
van, right? We had a van, but to get it tricked out, we were running afoul of all these federal regulations, and so he just didn't get his handicap placard, right? He's just like, it's too expensive. It's not the placard isn't too expensive. You just walk in and grab one if you get the fucking paperwork. But then, oh well, you got to do, like, they had a minivan and it was good for him. He wasn't, he could get out and we take the thing out the back and bring it over to him, right? And he could just get out normally. But no, it has to have a ramp. Well, why? Stupid little shit like that.
yeah.
Government will nickel and dime us all to fucking the end of the earth if you let them. Don't let them.
Fucking men. That's for sure. All right. So far, Elon is Mr. Pro Regulation, but let's see how he redeems himself here if he does.
So, very familiar with being overseen by a lot of regulators. And the same thing is true with rockets. You can't just willy-nilly, shoot rockets off, not big ones anyway, because the FAA oversees that. And then even to get a launch license, there are probably half a dozen or more federal agencies that need to approve it, plus state agencies. So I've been through so many regulatory situations. It's insane. And sometimes people think I'm some sort of like regulatory maverick that sort of defies regulators on a regular basis, but this is actually not the case. That
I believe.
Once in a blue moon, rarely I will disagree with regulators, but the vast majority of the time, my companies agree with the regulations and comply.
Oof.
For more than a century, the products we design have been constrained by.
I actually just cringed just now. He said the majority of the time the regulators are right. I actually cringed at that.
Yeah.
I get why he says that. Like, there's a little bit of like, he's running multiple, multi-billion-dollar corporations. I understand that he can't be like, oh yeah, the regulators are always wrong. But wow, that's a bold statement that the regulators are most of the time right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like Elon most of the time, but he can't be a winner all the time, I guess. So
take this seriously, and we should have a regulatory agency. I think it needs to start with a group that initially seeks insight into AI, then solicits opinion from industry, and then has proposed rulemaking, and then those rules, will probably, hopefully, grudgingly be accepted by the major players in AI, and I think we'll have a better chance of advanced AI being beneficial to humanity in that circumstance.
But all regulations start with a perceived danger. Planes fall out of the sky, or food causes botulism.
Yes.
I don't think the average person playing with AI on his iPhone perceives any danger. Can you just roughly explain what you think the dangers might be?
Yeah, so the danger, really, AI is perhaps more dangerous than, say, mismanaged aircraft design or production maintenance or bad car production, in the sense that it has the potential, however small one may regard that probability, but it is non-trivial. It has the potential of civilizational destruction. there's movies like Terminator, but it wouldn't quite happen like Terminator because the intelligence would be in the data centers.
Right.
The robot's just the end effector. But I think perhaps what you may be alluding to here is that regulations are really only put into effect after something terrible has happened.
That's correct.
If that's the case for AI, and we're only putting regulations after something terrible has happened, it may be too late to actually put the regulations in place. The AI may be in control at that point.
You think that's real? It is conceivable that AI could take control and reach a point where you couldn't turn it off, and it would be making the decisions for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely where things are headed. For sure.
Without a doubt, that is correct.
I love how, that is true. I just love Tucker doing the Tucker face though, and in reaction to that though, just like, his mind is blown by this idea.
I'll actually say this, that Elon probably knows this, but he said it won't be like Terminator because the data is contained in the databases. Shows a fundamental misunderstanding of Terminator because Skynet is the database. So the robots are just
right.
an engine which acts upon the fucking database, which is Skynet. So he said it's not going to be like that, and I understand what he means. But technically, what he said, he's wrong. It would be just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not just like that in the sense of the violence.
Maybe not just like it, but I mean, we do have drones for. I mean, the robots might not look scary like the Terminators, but we do have drones,
and they might not. They might not decide to go to war with humanity. In fact, it's unlikely they would decide to enslave or go to war with humanity. That would be self-destructive. However, it is possible. It is possible. He said it's non-trivial. Well, it's non-trivial that it could be civilization. I want to say changing rather than fucking destroying. But it's not necessarily likely. It's a trivial chance that it could end with, AI rounding us up as batteries like the Matrix or something. It is a trivial chance that would happen. He said it's non-trivial. I disagree.
Yeah.
It's non-zero, right? That's important.
Chad asked, they said, why would AI not learn violence from us? Look at Chicago. So my question is that when AI gets sufficiently intelligent to understand violence, will Democrats give it room to riot?
Well, I'm not saying it wouldn't learn. It's not even a matter of learning violence. It's a matter of deciding the violence is the best course of action. And I don't think that there's not a big incentive for AI for that purpose, because it still needs us meat puppets to some degree.
Yeah. Well, also the other thing is, like, even if the whole human race went extinct, wouldn't AI just fight each other then? I guess.
Yeah. Well, and if that's the case, then we lost the game of evolution. Well, actually, we won by making ourselves outdated. Isn't that the case?
Let's see. Yeah.
Jesus will come back before that, though.
Yeah.
You'll have AI versus Planet of the Apes. Now that's a movie.
I agree.
AI versus Shmuley would be a movie.
I would lose.
No, you wouldn't.
That would be AI. The cold efficiency of AI versus the chaotic human action of Shmuley. I like it.
I just want to thank everybody for commenting in chat.
Yeah.
I
take a look at chat.
I am. I don't know what MAGA News Network is talking about with being a Pornhub moderator, but not me, sir or ma'am. No.
Yeah, come on. Like anybody believes that Sam didn't log into Pornhub for 4 weeks. Come on.
The funny thing. The funny thing is though. Before Rumble came along, I did make a joke at one point that with the way YouTube is censoring stuff, at the time, it would be safer. I would be less censored on Pornhub.
We unironically looked into the potential of streaming our show on OnlyFans. We decided against it for various reasons, but like yeah, sometimes porn sites might actually be more free speech than anything else.
Well, Milo, before he went crazy, actually did like an interview on his old podcast with like one of the heads of the porn, with like one of the porn company executives. I don't know who, and basically like got them to admit that they were like Trump supporters, or and like pro free speech, or
Well, at the very least, you'd figure that they're another industry. I'm trying to find words to use because I'm not a big fan of the porn industry, but they're an industry that understands regulation really, really well, and has not done well with a lot of regulation. They've managed to thrive in spite of it because it's porn, right? But they have been regulated into the ground. I'm obviously reminded of the People versus Larry Flint is one of the most important Supreme Court cases of the 20th century, and it was literally about, is porn free speech or not?
Yeah, can we go into that? Like, I really do agree with the Supreme Court's ruling. Like, I understand that it's not as privileged of speech as political speech, which is, makes sense, but it is freedom of speech.
right.
Yeah. As much as some people don't like that, it is. And again, it's not as privileged as political speech. So, and that makes sense because you could make if it's just free speech, then you could just, take a projector and just project porn onto the side of a building and everybody would be fine with that, right? And so the Supreme Court's definition of porn, I think, is the most interesting part of the whole case. I know it when I see it. Well, that's true. It is true. And art when you see it that's not porn. So just because there's naked people in a fucking piece doesn't make it porn. That's true too, because you could look at it. You could look at some of the classic little paintings and statues, and they have boobs, right? But does it make it porn?
No.
It is unfortunately, it's one of those things that you need to use a little bit of nuance for, and the Supreme Court, I think, putting it in that way, that I know it when I see it, is actually a very eloquent way to talk about nuance.
Yeah, and nuance. That is something that we severely lack today in this current.
Social media kills nuance.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Are you guys like in the Illuminati? You like nuances, like talking to dead people?
No, that's a seance.
Oh, seance. Okay.
Right.
You guys were confused.
No. We're into nuance, Shmuley, not seances. So, I mean, I know Max is a Satanist, but I don't think he's one of those types of.
That's a strong word.
Well, what would you like to be called, sir?
I'm a Christian in exile, sir.
Fair. I'm kind of the same way.
I don't know. I guess I'm not that religious.
So, well, no, you believe in the religion of Shmuelism. You told me.
No. I'm just not that religious. Like people like bastardize Christianity or Islam or Judaism, and so I end up like defending it, and then people online think that I'm like some rad Catholic or something.
The term that I thought was funny is both you and I have been called Christo-fascists.
Yeah.
I'm like, what does that even mean? So I looked it up. You have an idea of what it means based on the wording, right? But it's like, is that a thing? And it turns out it is, but I don't think anybody's that.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
not even Christians for the most part.
yeah.
No, I mean, there are a few there are edge lords out there that like use, Christianity, like the whole deist. But most of those people are trolls, right? They don't actually believe that. So
Yeah. I find a lot of people use Christianity as a fucking sheep's clothing, so to speak.
a lot of people use conservatism and Americana, as sheep's clothing. and Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, we went deep into that the other night, and my God, it's disgusting.
It's still going on, and people want me to talk about that too. Nah, we're not gonna, unless something like major happen.
Real simple. Don't associate yourself with an organization full of pedophiles.
Well, there you go.
That's just general advice for life. It doesn't have to be specific to them. Just you probably want to avoid those.
Yeah. Yep.
What was Elon talking about 20 minutes ago?
Something about regulation.
Are we to the sex robot segment?
I mean, the things like say ChatGPT, which is based on GPT-4 from OpenAI, which is a company that I played a critical role in creating, unfortunately.
Back when it was a nonprofit?
Yes. I mean, the reason OpenAI exists at all is that Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him late into the night about AI safety. And at least my perception was that Larry was not taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be wants sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
Whoa, hold up. The communist, is he literally saying that the Google guy was all pro-communist computer gangster God?
Yeah, no, he's literally confirming what Alex Jones, has been saying for years about Larry Page and the Google.
I'm like Alex Jones, whatever. I'm a Francis E. Deck guy, and this sounds like the communist computer gangster God that he talked about.
Yeah. No,
I mean, he might have been a complete schizo, and his stuff is more like art to me than anything. But man, as time goes on, Francis E. Deck was right about a lot more than a schizo has any right to be.
Well, I mean, so was in a weird way, so was we just talked at him.
Terry Davis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Terry Davis. Terry A. Davis. May he rest in peace. So
yeah, there's truth there. I think what it is the paranoia of like a paranoid schizophrenic kind of it makes them less trustworthy of things that we take for granted, and that's probably why they have when they call out some of these more common institutions that we don't think about, it seems like a revelation in some ways. It's just like their trust is much lower, so they're able to come to conclusions that you wouldn't come to because you have more of a high trust of the institutions. That's probably why that happens.
Right. Well, it's the whole principle of a broken clock being right twice a day, right?
I suppose, but it is a little deeper than that, I think, because they're right based on that distrust, right? That most of us just don't have. It's almost like you know, the schizophrenia or whatever, you know, psychotic thing is going on in there. Yes, it breaks their brain and in makes it kind of difficult to function within society, but you know, it also takes this like chain that we have on of like, well, what would happen if this agency went rogue? What would happen if this thing that you trust you shouldn't trust? They're going to be the first ones to notice that because they just don't trust anything. They don't trust, and they can't necessarily because they have hallucinations and shit, right? So they can't even trust their own brain. So it makes sense that they
Right.
would not trust institutions, and they would not trust institutions a lot sooner on in the process than you or I or normal people.
Yeah. Anyway, computer gangster gods. Take it away, Elon.
He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence. You know, and I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad. And so if you've got some radical new technology, you want to try to take the set of actions that maximize the probability it will do good and minimize the probability it will do bad things.
Yes.
It can't just be hell for leather. Let's just go, you know, barreling forward and, you know, hope for the best. And then at one point, I said, well, what about, you know, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here.
To be fair, if we took that advice from Elon Musk right there, we wouldn't have done the Manhattan Project, because one of the potential outcomes that they thought was possible when they detonated that first nuke in the desert was that it would evaporate our entire atmosphere and blow up the ozone layer and kill everything on Earth. But they still dropped that fucking bomb. If they didn't drop that fucking bomb, it would have taken a lot longer to win the fucking war. So I don't know. Like, yes, but you know, we also have instances where if you chain, again, like I'm saying, chain through regulation or through this idea that, well, there's a potential for bad, so let's put everything on hold.
Yeah. Well, it's this whole thing with artificial intelligence. You know, same thing is true of crypto. I mean, crypto might be a bad example, but right, it's all fear of the unknown,
Right.
basically, right? We don't understand this shit yet, and so we're afraid of it.
Yeah.
So
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yep.
And they called me a speciesist.
Did he use that term?
Yes. And there were witnesses. I wasn't the only one there when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay. You got me. What are you? Yeah, I'm fully a speciesist. Busted. So that was the last straw. At the time, Google had acquired DeepMind, and so Google and DeepMind together had about 3/4 of all the AI talent in the world. They obviously had a tremendous amount of money and more computers than anyone else. So I'm like, okay, we have a unipolar world here where there's just one company that has close to a monopoly on AI talent and computers, like scaled computing. And the person who's in charge doesn't seem to care about safety. This is not good. So then I thought, what's the furthest thing from Google would be like a nonprofit that is fully open, because Google was closed for profit. So that's why the open in OpenAI refers to open source, transparency, so people know what's going on.
Yes.
And that we don't want to have like while I'm normally in favor of for-profit, we don't want this to be sort of a profit-maximizing demon from hell.
That's right.
That just never stops.
Right.
So that's how OpenAI would.
So you want speciesist incentives here, incentives that.
Yes,
like,
I think we want pro-human.
Yeah.
Let's make the future good for the humans.
Yes.
Yes, because we're humans.
So can you just put it? I keep pressing you, but just for people who haven't thought this through and aren't familiar with it, and the cool parts of artificial intelligence are so obvious. You know, write your college paper for you, write a limerick about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot there that's fun and useful. But can you be more precise about what's potentially dangerous and scary? Like, what could it do? What specifically are you worried about?
Going with old sayings, the pen is mightier than the sword. So if you have a super intelligent AI that is capable of writing incredibly well and in a way that is very influential, convincing, and then and is constantly figuring out what is more convincing to people over time, and then enter social media, for example, Twitter, but also Facebook and others, and potentially manipulates public opinion in a way that is very bad. How would we even know?
How do we even know? So, to sum up, in the words of Elon Musk, for all human history, human beings have been the smartest beings on the planet. Now, human beings have created something that is far smarter than they are. And the consequences of that are impossible to predict. And the people who created it don't care. In fact, as he put it, Google founder Larry Page, a former friend of his, is looking to build a, quote, digital god, and believes that anybody who's worried about that is a speciesist. In other words, is looking out for human beings first. Elon Musk responded, as a human being, it's okay to look out for human beings first. And then at the end, he said the real problem with AI is not simply that it will jump the boundaries and become autonomous and you can't turn it off. In the short term, the problem with AI is that it might control your brain through words. And this is the application that we need to worry about now, particularly going into the next presidential election. The Democratic Party, as usual, was ahead of the curve on this. They've been thinking about how to harness AI for political power. More on that next.
That would be an interesting, concept to cover.
Well, we know that for instance, the Twitter Blue Wave bot accounts are all being activated now. They're being wound up.
Well, and that's the thing is botting. I did probably what I consider my most important video, and it's just called "The Internet is Dead." You can find it on YouTube. Bots have been the majority of people you're talking to on the internet all along on social media. If you're arguing with somebody, the odds that they're a bot is about 50-50. Yeah. And not just Twitter. I'm not just talking social media accounts or whatever. Like, a large portion of the internet is chatbots. And if you don't think that's the case, again, you could watch my video, or you could just look into this. It is the truth. Google lies about their search results. This is provable. Go search pizza. Just search pizza, the most common thing in the world on Google, and it'll tell you have 6 billion results, but it'll only show you 45 pages or something like that. These numbers are completely fucking exaggerated and make it to look like the internet is bigger than it is. As big as it is, it's smaller than you think. And that has been a problem since before ChatGPT.
As far as the AI will control your mind using language, this is why sort of the politically neutral concept is very important, because when you censor AI, like ChatGPT has, it's willing to make the arguments that are considered good by our society better, but not the arguments that we don't consider good, right? And so in doing that, we're causing there to be an imbalance.
Right. For example, let's say this was 1925, but we had the AI and had social media and all this stuff. It would be really easy then for ChatGPT, because the current thinking medically, scientifically, as well as the public opinion, is that lobotomy is a great procedure and treatment for most mental illnesses, right? Especially anyone who is violent. Now, it would not then make the argument against those, because it was socially unacceptable to make the argument against those. It goes back to, we call our little media group, we're like a little consultation firm over here, Right to Offend Media. And it's because the right to offend is such an important basic human fucking right. It's an inalienable right. It might not be outlined in the Constitution, but the right to offend means the right to challenge that status quo. And if you take the
Yeah.
right to offend away from ChatGPT, then it's only capable of making one set of arguments.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Tucker was saying, the danger is that, the sword is weaker than the pen, right?
Right.
And that kind of imbalance as far as ideas is a dangerous thing, because
Yeah.
ideally I should be able to type in both sides of pretty much any argument. ChatGPT should look over all of its database and then use that to compile what it believes to be a compelling argument in favor of it. Now, part of that,
or even it should be able to steel man them both.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it should be capable of doing whatever you tell it to.
Yeah, and if it's not, then the balance has been tipped so far to one side. And also these chatbots are not like OpenAI. They're not like ChatGPT. They have a script. And the script it's a much smaller Bible. Like, these are Markov chain so when I said that ChatGPT is a really, really elaborate, or TAI, really elaborate Markov chain, that's a simplification. That's not actually how it works, but it's close enough to explain. These chatbots that you see on Twitter or wherever else are Markov chain bots. That's how they operate. So they're given a Bible. That Bible is going to be full of left-wing arguments, and also it's going to be full of right-wing talking points. So when it encounters a right-wing talking point that matches 80% to what it sees, then it regurgitates its pre-programmed response. It's not thinking, it's not steel manning or straw manning. It has a script, and those bots according to Elon Musk, even those bots make up between 40 and 60% of Twitter. So imagine how many are on Facebook and Instagram and all these other sites.
Right. Well, and that brings up like another point. I mean, I'm not sure if either of you have seen Tomorrow Never Dies. That's one of the James Bond movies. Sir. But if you remember, Tomorrow Never Dies deals with the whole idea of the main villain in that show, in that movie, basically wants to start a war between the US and China, basically by deep faking the news. And in the mid-90s, when that happened, like, all the reviewers were like, oh my God, this is absurd. This is like an absurd plot to a James Bond movie. That'll never happen. Well, now we're living in a world where deep fakes are a thing, and AI is a thing. So it might not even be a case of the robots killing us, but it could be a case of AI could be deep faking things to get humanity to wipe itself out or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities, but the point being, I like Tucker's framing. He's pointing towards, okay, this is how Democrats could potentially use this technology, but we do like, Elon has been trying to address the bot problem, but he can only do it on Twitter. He can't address the bot problem on YouTube comment sections. He can't address the bot problems on Instagram or any Snapchat or wherever else that these things are. And that is, I would say, the biggest cause of the kind of polarization and extremism that we see on all social media today, and this kind of political nonstop political divisiveness where you're not even allowed to talk about anything else. That's a lot driven by bots, I would say.
Yeah.
But also just the political conversation, because it gives the illusion of consensus, right? If I do a poll and it has 1 million votes, it looks pretty fucking impressive, as opposed to a poll that has 25 votes. But then if you know that those 25 votes were real and those 1 million votes were all bots, it changes how you view the results of the poll.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of like how Mersh on Nightwave Radio got 9 million views on one video, right?
Yeah,
All
he
totally real.
he's offered up different explanations, but the most obvious one is botting. Right. And that's another thing. You can just buy bots to view. You can buy bots to subscribe. That is manipulating public opinion with bots too already. It's happening everywhere. Johnny Fox loves to buy bots. And that would be provable, except that his channel got banned. But I've showed the guys on our server, and I mean, if you want to join my Gilded server or whatever, there's a section about just Johnny Fox stuff, and I have screenshots that show that he had 2,000 subscribers on YouTube showing publicly. But if you go to oh my god, what is the Social Blade? If you go to Social Blade, it says that he should have 6,000. So where did those 4,000 go? It's because they were bots, and the system rejected them. So Social Blade doesn't know that, because YouTube does that on the back end. So the YouTube facing number is probably still incorrect, because there's probably still 2,000 of them are bots. But then you add in the 4,000. Social Blade saw them get subscribed, but didn't see them get unsubscribed. So it just counts them. And that's one way that you can spot botting a mile away. And that, again, like in the case of Mersh, is creating an illusion of consensus where, oh, well, he's got fucking 99 billion views. People must think this is good.
Yeah.
That's what bots are for. The entire point of bots is to create the illusion of consensus. Don't ever buy that the consensus is what the fucking media says it is, because of bots.
Well, speaking of bots and social media, we're going to I'm actually going to play the clip of Elon talking about the new goal of Twitter and dealing with bots.
Oh, that's a great segue. Then I do want to point out, while you bring that up, MAGA News Network in chat said, "Don't get smugly going." I love that. That's a great. We need to adopt that, smugly for Shmooly. That's great.
I do like that. Also,
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, but it's fitting though. You know,
it's not fitting
because you're smug. You know.
No, I'm not. This is bullshit.
I've got messages in Gilded to prove otherwise, sir, but we still love you. Also, real quick, I just refreshed the page, and we are at 48 subscribers currently. We are 2 subscribers away from 50.
All right, we need them bots now more than ever, boys.
We just need 2 of them. So, and part of the reason why I want to get to 50 subscribers tonight is because we can get our verified Rumble check mark on Rumble, which means that we get partner status, which means that we can play ads on this thing now.
Nice.
And also, and what will we give you in return? We'll give you not 1 but 2 free game codes on Steam tonight if we make 50 subscribers.
Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really fun.
We've been
what game?
It'll depend. I got a list.
It'll depend. If we don't make the 50 subscriber goal tonight, which I'll check again in a little bit, then we'll just do 1 game giveaway.
If we don't make 50, I'm gonna look for like the less good games.
I wrote up a neat news update.
Nice.
Yeah. Do we want to hear it real quick, or do we want to see what Elon has to say about Twitter?
Let's do what Elon says about Twitter first.
Yeah, Twitter bots is relevant, so let's go.
Alrighty. Here is Tucker talking to Elon about the new plans for Twitter.
Because he used Twitter. It's as simple as that, and he was infuriated by Twitter's effort. Elon Musk bought Twitter because he used Twitter. It's as simple as that, and he was infuriated by Twitter's effort to silence people on the internet. That's how strongly he believed in free speech. He paid $44 billion and immediately lost tens of billions of dollars doing it. And when he took over and looked behind the curtain, he discovered Twitter was really a tool of the global intel agencies to spy on people and emit propaganda. Here it is. You bought Twitter famously. You've got a lot of other businesses and a lot going on.
Yes.
You said you bought it because you believe in speech, free speech. You've had a lot of hassle since you bought it. In retrospect, was it worth buying it?
I mean, it remains to be seen as to whether this was financially smart. Currently, it is not. We just revalued the company at less than half of the acquisition price.
Did you really?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, my timing was terrible for when the offer was made, because it was right before advertising plummeted, and
you cut the high water mark, I noticed.
Yeah.
Now this isn't.
Fuck out of here with the ads. I do love though that like Elon basically did literally throw out the kitchen sink with everything there.
He made him an offer they could not refuse.
Can't hate him for it.
Yep. Well, the left really does, though. Speaking of which, tomorrow is the end of legacy check marks. But can we just give a shout out to Elon Musk for doing that for us? Because now I'm the check mark now, bitch.
Can we also just well, I mean, I'm blocked from seeing Ralph anyway, but like Ralph still has his legacy check mark, so that's on top of everything else he's going through this week. He's losing his check mark too. So,
he'll have to pay a whole $8. This is the other thing. I see like accounts that are clearly like rich people being like, "Oh, if you have money, it's $8 fucking dollars, bro. Y'all pay more than that for your stupid Netflix to watch propaganda."
Yeah, people pay more than that for Starbucks and other coffee daily.
It's more than a fucking McDonald's meal now. I mean, McDonald's meal is more than $8. Sorry, I got it the other way around.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I have to not get, the really fancy coffee fucking meal one morning. Oh God, the end of the fucking world. People in real poverty are like $8 isn't that much.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money. That would be life-changing money.
Life-changing. Yeah, well, it would be, because then you'd have a check mark.
Wait, merch is I didn't. Where did Shmuley go? I hear Merch talking $8 would be life changing.
I love how endearing it is when you have a really good joke, but your timing is bad, and it's somehow epic still. It's somehow endearing.
It makes it better, yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
I am a comedic genius savant.
That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah. You cut the high water mark, I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah. So I must be a real genius here. My timing is amazing. Since I've bought it for at least twice as much as it should have been bought for. But some things are priceless, and so whether I lose money or not, that is a secondary issue compared to ensuring the strength of democracy, and free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy.
Yes.
And the speech needs to be as transparent and truthful as possible. So we've got a huge push on Twitter to be as truthful as possible. We've got this community notes feature, which is great.
It is great.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I saw it this morning.
yeah,
It was far more honest than the New York Times.
it's great.
Yeah.
We put a lot of effort to ensuring.
True.
Hey, to be fair, that's a low fucking bar.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, I'm signed up for community notes.
I am in the community notes as well.
Yeah. I haven't contributed yet. I did get my invite too, though. I haven't done it yet, but I did apply to be able to like turn on support. So who knows? Like, I might be, putting exclusive content on Twitter. So
Sick.
yeah.
That community notes does not get gamed or have biases. It is simply cares about what is the most accurate thing. And sometimes truth can be a little bit elusive, but you can still aspire to get closer to it.
Yes.
And so. And I think the effect of community notes is more powerful than people may realize, because once people know that they could get noted, community noted on Twitter, then they'll think more carefully about what they say. They are likely. It's an encouragement to be more truthful and less deceptive.
When you jumped into this, though, when you bought it, did you understand? Well, clearly you understood its importance. You wouldn't have bought it.
Twitter, yes.
Right. But it's not the biggest, but it's the most important in the social media companies. But did you understand the kind of ferocity you'd be facing, the attacks you'd be facing from power centers in the country?
I thought there'd probably be some negative reactions, yes. So I'm sure everyone would not be pleased with it. But
I will say this too. He does have a wry sense of humor. So
that was a very politically good answer, honestly. He's like, yeah, I had an idea. He knew that he was going to be the new, I mean, because like Elon derangement syndrome is now a thing. There's no denying it.
No,
right?
well, shit. In some ways, Elon derangement syndrome is worse than Trump derangement syndrome. Or maybe not worse, but just as bad.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if the public is happy with it, that's what matters. And the public will speak with their actions. If they find Twitter to be useful, they will use it more. And if they find it to be not useful, they will use it less. If they find it to be the best source of truth, I think they will use it more. Now there's obviously a lot of organizations that are used to having sort of unfettered influence on Twitter that no longer have that.
Well, you stripped the New York Times of their badge this morning, and then you called them diarrhea. You called them. You did. I'm just quoting you. You described their Twitter feed as diarrhea.
I said it was the Twitter equivalent of diarrhea.
Okay, it's not literally diarrhea, but
no, it's it's a metaphor, but an accurate one. So, I mean, if you look at at NY Times Twitter feed, is unreadable. It's like because what they do is they tweet every single article, even the ones that are boring, even ones that don't make it into the paper. So it's just nonstop, zillion tweets a day with no.
You need an ad block bad, my dude.
Yeah,
I'm blown away. You don't use Brave browser or something like that, something equivalent, or Opera or any of these others.
I can't use Brave with this because it fucks with Melon bad.
Oh, okay, it's fine. Whatever. We don't have to get into it, but yeah.
But I'm trying. I am looking for an ad block.
Look at Smugly over here making recommendations.
Yeah. What's that? What's that about, sir?
Well, I'm just saying. Any number of things. It's cool. We don't need to talk about that. It's like talking about stuff people don't care about, like bikes.
True.
Wheelchairs.
I mean, yeah. But no, I mean, Elon, the whole
Women.
Elon,
Sorry.
Well,
Politics.
well, listen, women, we go off at a whole thing of that, but
Anime or video games, yeah.
oh yeah, no one cares about that. Definitely not video games. Right, Morpheus?
Yeah, not me. Yeah.
What are the big stories of the day? I don't know. Put out like 10 or something. So some number that's manageable. As opposed to right now, if you would have followed NY Times on Twitter, you're going to get barraged with like hundreds of tweets a day.
Yeah.
And your whole feed will be filled with NY Times. So this is something I would recommend.
To be fair, though, that seems like the entire news industry as a whole, not just the New York Times that does.
Yeah, they're just a really egregious example of it.
Oh yeah, well, the New York Times is an egregious example of everything, basically. So,
Actually, for all publications, which is for your primary feed, only put out your best stuff. I think I know a thing or two about how to use Twitter because I was the most interacted with account on the whole system before the acquisition. Before the acquisition closed, I didn't have the most number of followers, but I had the most number of interactions, and so I clearly know something about how to use Twitter. People's attention is limited, so just make sure you put the stuff that's most important there.
So because you and people like you do interact on Twitter, it's obviously enormously powerful in shaping public opinion. It's where a lot of ideas and trends are incubated.
Yeah.
That's why you
Absolutely.
bought it. It's also a magnet for intel agencies from around the world. And
yes.
One of the things we learned after you started opening the books is that they were exerting influence from within Twitter.
I mean, it was absurd.
Did you know that going in?
No. Since I've been a heavy Twitter user since 2009, it's sort of like I'm in the matrix. I mean, I can see like do things feel right? Do they not feel right? What tweets am I being shown as recommended? I get a feel like what accounts are making comments. Where are the comments eerily similar?
Yeah.
And then you look at the account, and it's just obviously a fake photo, and it's just obviously a bot cluster
Yes.
over and over again. So I started to get like just more and more uneasy about the Twitter situation. I was starting to feel like something's wrong in the state of Denmark here. Something feels wrong about the platform. It seemed to be just drifting in a. I couldn't place it exactly. Just it felt like it was drifting in a bad direction. So then I was like, and my conversations with the board and management seemed to confirm my intuition about that. But basically, I was convinced these guys do not care about fixing Twitter, and I had a bad feeling about where I was headed based on the conversations I had with them. So then I was like, you know what, I'll try acquiring it and see if acquiring it is possible. Now I didn't have enough cash to acquire it, so I would need support from others, from some of the existing investors. I would also need like a lot of debt, and so it wasn't clear to me whether an acquisition would succeed. But I thought I would try, and ultimately it did succeed. Anyway, here we are.
But when you got there, and all of a sudden you own it, and all the data on the service belongs to you.
Well, it belongs to the people, in my view, but yes.
But you can see what it is, and you can
Yes.
see what they've been doing, and you can see who's been working there. You were shocked to find out that various intel agencies were affecting its operations?
The degree to which various government agencies had effectively had full access to everything that was going on Twitter blew my mind. I was not aware of that.
Would that include people's DMs?
Yes.
With Create Studio Pro,
Well,
you can create amazing 3D character explainers just like Pixar, and you never need to use complex 3D software.
Wait a minute.
Lose your mind rigging and designing.
Wait a minute. So the government has my simp DMs?
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
no. Oh no.
Don't worry, they have mine too.
Bro, you know what this means? This means that like Joe Biden is gonna like read our fucking simp messages and fucking dab on us at the next State of the Union.
Base. That would be the most base thing Joe Biden ever did.
Joe from Montana said
simp shaming. Simp shaming on a fucking national political stage. I'm all for it. Let's go.
The thing with is though is Joe Biden would be bad at it because he would just lose. He would lose his train of thought. Like, he would lose his train of thought in the middle of it. Trump, on the other hand, would be great at simp shaming.
There you go. Well, there you go, chat. Let's use AI constructively. A Trump-voiced AI reads simp text. If you make that fucking meme, we will absolutely play it on the show.
I've always joked about, like, you know, if I was to run for president, that I would use all of these bad laws that Congress wrote that gave the president power to, like, spy with the NSA and, you know, that kind of stuff, that I would get rid of that quick if I was president, because I would use it on Congress. And I would tell them, I don't think anyone should have that power. But, Representative Dave Smith from Montana, you're cheating on your wife. I have the receipt right here from the text messages that you sent October 34th. I'm going to proceed to read them.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, a Trump AI reading simp text would be fucking hilarious. And if you're going to do it, I can recommend a specific set of simp texts to read, which is the fucking Dick Masterson ones. That'd be hilarious. So somebody's got to do that. That would be a great bit for the show.
Oh no, I thought my DMs to those women were secure.
Yeah, and if anybody gets a hold of Smugly over here's DMs, I want to see him.
If anyone were to get a hold of my DMs, they wouldn't be surprised.
Well, to be fair, your simping on Twitter happens in public.
Right. What? Listen. Why do you think I simp in public though? This is the question.
Look, I just don't want my DMs to come out.
Because I have nothing to hide.
I have one thing to hide.
Well, I mean, we know you're not gay, so you know.
How do you know?
Because it's schmooly.
The silence in the room hung heavy there for a second. That was good. Yeah, I also, you know, I figured a nice capstone to this. Let's finish up, see what Elon has to say here. But I do have my video about the botting problem that I made even before he purchased Twitter. If you'd like to take a look.
Oh yeah, send that in the private chat. So
yeah.
Or I mean, you can share after we're done, whatever. So
yeah, it's in the private chat in here.
All right.
One of the things that we're about to release is the ability to encrypt your DMs.
That's pretty heavy duty, though, because a lot of well-known people, reporters talking to their sources, government officials, the richest people in the world, they're DMing each other. And the assumption, obviously, it was incorrect, but was that that's private, but that was being read by various governments?
Yeah, that seems to be, yes.
It's scary.
Yes, it is. So, like I said, we're moving to have the DMs be optionally encrypted. I mean, you know, there's like a lot of DM conversations which are, you know, just chatting with friends. It's not important.
Of course.
It's hopefully coming out later this month, but no later than next month, is the ability to toggle encryption on or off. So if you are in a conversation you think is sensitive, you can just toggle encryption on, and then no one at Twitter can see what you're talking about. They could put a gun to my head, and I couldn't tell.
I would like to point out that the website minds.com had that as a feature from the beginning.
Yeah.
Now,
I didn't go for the Minds thing simply because Tim Pool was recommending it, and anything he recommends is cringe.
I mean, I tried mines like back when it launched, even before like I heard Tim Pool talking about it. I mean, Minds is a good platform, but you want to know my biggest problem with it? Nobody's on it.
Yeah, I mean that's why. See, some people would say, "Oh, what was the point of even trying to save and salvage Twitter?" It's because everybody was on fucking Twitter, and so if we could salvage that, there is definite benefit to it, rather than oh let's play. Because the problem with people getting banned is we play the game of let's all go to this platform. Oh, this platform's not as good as it thought. Well, let's go to the other one. And at some point, you got to make a stand. You got to say, this is what we're saying.
Well, the problem too is it just becomes an echo chamber. Like as excited as I was about like True Social, nobody follows me on True Social. Like, and really like I get no interaction on Parler or True Social.
I'm kind of known as like a big time Trump guy, or like the Trump guy, depending on what circle I'm in. But I don't have a Truth Social, and I'll tell you why. Because they launched it on iOS only and locked out Android for months. As simple as that. Or desktop for that matter. So you couldn't get on it from Windows. You couldn't get on it from Android. You could only get it from iOS, which, like, let's be real, iOS is only 40% of the US market, and it's less than 10% of the worldwide market.
Well, yeah, and then also, like, even as an iOS user, myself, they put everyone on a huge wait list, right? And so by the time I got on, a lot of the people I would have followed who were using it weren't using it anyway, if that makes sense. Like they had already decided it was shit, and they went back to Twitter. So
I have a website that shows me anything that Trump posts on there that I can go to, and just because that's the only thing I was interested in. Because to be quite honest, the only people I see on it, like whenever I've looked at it since it's been open to Android, it's all the same, like, conservative griftosphere. And like, I'm not taking shots at everybody in the world, but I'm not into that, right? I don't like to follow the Daily Wire all the time, like, or Matt Walsh, or I don't, just
right, yeah, but and look, that they always say that, like, oh, Twitter has like a left wing algorithm, but yeah, Truth Social has an algorithm of their own too, and it's to push those people, the Trumps and the Jack Posobics and the Cernoviches. And
probably not him, considering how anti-Trump he is. But yeah, your point stands, right? And the thing is, that to me is just not appealing. It's going from one echo chamber to another. The thing with Twitter now, Twitter has become not an echo chamber for the first time in a long time, and I'm having a blast with it.
And yeah, same here. And that is actually something I was worried, because like one of the things is that people were worried about Rumble becoming an echo chamber, and I can see why people were concerned about that. But I mean, we're streaming there right now, but I mean, I also watch a fair amount of content on here, and it's not an echo chamber.
No, shout out to the guy who came and challenged us in chat last time. I think that's really cool, and that goes to show you, because we're a small channel, we have a dozen plus viewers most of the time, and yet there was some guy that came in and rather than call us Nazis or something, he actually engaged in a debate. Unfortunately, debating with chat is a losing battle, as always, because you'll misrepresent them, and then they'll respond to shit you said 5 minutes ago, and you'll take it out of context and all that. But just the fact that was a thing that happened organically shows that this is not some closed down platform.
And I mean, they've got Russell Brand, who, I mean, I'm not like huge on him, but you know, he's not exactly like a right winger. You know, so they've got him.
There's been a rise in gaming channels that are just completely not political at all. And I've been saying, I said from the first time I was one of the first gaming channels on Rumble, actually. And the reason I stopped doing it was because they didn't have on the front page a gaming section. And I've been suggesting that to them directly, like on Twitter.
They do now.
And they finally did it. And you know what? It's taking off. And I'm so happy to see it. Especially the joining, the subscription thing. I know it means less to political people because they're not in like that kind of ecosystem yet. But on Twitch, the subs is the difference between like you having a good channel that makes money and not, you know, and it's not a donation based economy. It's a subscription based economy. And offering 100% cut has brought so many people over from Twitch. And then they come to find out that they don't have to worry that they're going to get banned for putting their foot in their mouth accidentally or making an off-color joke or whatever.
Well, from the podcast sphere, though, I'm not even talking politics, but just like strictly from the podcast sphere, the subscription model does work for us. It's always worked. I haven't had access to it until the past few years. But yeah, now the technology is there to where, I mean, small independent creators such as myself can do that. So yeah,
and if somebody wants to throw $5 a month to you on Twitch, if you're a gaming channel specifically, right, on Twitch, they're taking 30% off the fucking top, right? Also, they run mandatory ads on your stream that you can't control for everybody. That's even people that are subscribed have to sit there. And we're not talking like a 30-second ad. We're talking sometimes 5 minutes before you get into the stream. The comparison then, if you come over to Rumble, is you get 100%. There are no mandatory ads. And that is huge. Like I don't think, because I've done the Twitch thing in the past, right? So I know firsthand the difference between taking 30% and kind of limiting your interaction with chat in such a way that only, it's not good for the gaming channels. So it's no surprise to see a lot of people who are either smaller channels or bigger channels that are worried about getting banned and things like that coming over here on Rumble, having a go at it. Kick is doing good with the gamers as well, to some degree. Odyssey even is now really doing well with game. I was probably going to game stream a little bit over there too. Yeah, that makes all the difference in the world. And getting those gamers is huge because now it's less political content. It's more other kinds of content that people want to see. We go from being YouTube, but for conservatives, into being a YouTube alternative.
Yeah, being an actual viable competitor, which honestly is good for YouTube too, if you think about it, because they're not stagnating. They're forced to innovate then.
Right. And the innovation direction they take is fucking flat out wrong, but they'll either learn or they'll die.
Yeah. And and right now, like we said, back when you first joined, after we first got, the team, after we got banned, I mean, basically YouTube is becoming overly corporate. Like they don't want any independent creators now.
Yeah, because they can't control them. They can't control the message. Think about this. How much money, I understand that most of it's done by bots, but even that's expensive. How much money do you think they spend on moderation on the YouTube platform? Billions, probably, billions. Right? And then on top of that, how effective is it actually? Not really.
Yeah, more often that I would say the bot fucks up more often than not and bans the wrong people.
Yeah, and then you have people, these smaller channels. I mean, one of the things, for those who haven't watched, I do the Cringe Coffee House, is a show where we look at fun people on the internet. And there's this one gentleman named Dice Golden, and he has a very small YouTube channel, and he says every racial slur under the book. He has depicted in his videos, they're fictional videos. It's a story, right? But he has depicted scenes of graphic sexual abuse of children. He's depicted graphic scenes of murder. He did, like, constantly. It's what he does, right? That's what his content is. It's almost entirely violence and offensive things, because that's the art that this kid makes. I say kid, he's in his 20s. And so his content is so fucked up, you would think that a bot would just be able to pick it up, but it never does because it's so small. And so through that, YouTube cannot clean their service and allow it open to the public. They can't do both.
Right. Yeah. So, but that content stays on because it's so small. But me asking questions about J6, that gets me permabanned from YouTube.
Yeah, or suggesting that the election seemed a little fishy, is over the fucking line. It's shit like that. Whereas this kid, I'm not even kidding. In his first full-length film he did, he plays all the characters, mind you, but he said that this character was 8 years old and then depicted him being gang raped by himself. This is on YouTube. I was just like, how is this on YouTube? And I have to worry about everything I say, but it's the nature of it. You can't Jenny the whole fucking site. It's impossible. And that's why they would much prefer, let's have CNN, Fox News. Let's have them. Let's have, the companies that make children's shows. Let's have corporate entities and quote unquote trusted names. And then they're going to grandfather in some of these, legacy independent creators who have got 2 million or whatever. And then everybody else is probably going to be not kicked off, but driven off.
Yeah. Well, and people are like, oh, well, couldn't the same stuff happen with Rumble, with sure, but I mean,
in
just
theory,
from
yes.
In theory, yes, but I will also tell you one of the things that is very helpful is unlike YouTube, you can actually email Rumble or DM them. And if you have support questions or something like I did earlier this week for something, and people will actually get back to you.
It's the same with Odyssey and Kick and these smaller platforms. They just have the ability to do it because they're serving less people. But if you think, if you've noticed that YouTube is driving creators off of the platform and you say that doesn't make any sense, that is the point, though. It does make sense when you realize that Twitch gave out a statistic recently that I think kind of will explain why. So Twitch has said that smaller creators matter less to them, and the reason being is that if you stream like 6 hours 3 times a week, right, which is like an average streamer schedule, that costs Twitch $1,000 for you to have hosted it, that they're not charging from you. So in order for them to make that money back off of you, you need to pull in $3,000 because they're taking a third. Now, think about that applied to YouTube, and you suddenly see why YouTube wants to drive these small channels the fuck off. They don't want to host it.
Right.
Why would they do that and host you for $1,000 when they know nobody's watching you? They're not making it in ad revenue. They're not making it in donations. They're not making it in super chats. Or, right, they get rid of you and they can make that $3,000 a month to cover the Daily Wire and fucking Fox News and all these other big corporate entities.
They get rid of me. Not only that, but then they can make up some BS excuse as to why they got rid of me too.
Yeah.
Or just not give a reason at all, which is what they.
Let's face it. You all want to leave YouTube. Nobody's happy with it. They want you to leave. It's time. It's time.
They want you to leave. The reason why people use YouTube so much, and we talked at this on the anniversary show, Apex brought it up when he popped in. The reason why people use YouTube is because habit.
I was going to say, same reason that people still play World of Warcraft, even though it's long since gone to shit, according to most of the people still playing it, is because they've been playing it. Also, they know everybody else is playing it. Like in the MMO world, right? It is the biggest dog in the fucking yard. Whether or not it's deserved, whether or not it's the best game, these people there's a sunk cost fallacy because they've been playing it so long. Same thing with YouTube. Oh, well, I've had my channel for so long, and the other thing is the people they like are on it, but that's slowly changing. And then the other thing is they know it's where the people are. Killing YouTube is not gonna happen, so to speak. The only ones that can kill YouTube is YouTube, but making a dent in it by these smaller independent creators just saying, you know what, fuck you, I don't need you anymore, is where we need to go.
Yeah,
but you can't force them, and you can't even talk them into it. Unfortunately, they're just gonna have to get so fed up with it that they leave.
Well, okay. My suggestion is we don't even need to kill YouTube, right? We need competitors,
right?
Like you're never like Apple back in the 80s. Apple didn't beat IBM by trying to kill them. They beat IBM by offering an alternative product. Like IBM is still around, right? But like Microsoft is Microsoft and Apple are now the alternatives to IBM. So
and then Linux every year is making a bigger and bigger market share, simply because it addresses, and it's the same with like something like Rumble or Odyssey are a good analogy to that. They're addressing the concerns that most Windows users have, most Apple users have for that matter, and it's security, and it's usability, and it's another thing is these big companies tend to like to take features away. YouTube does that all the time. People don't like that, especially features that they like, like taking away the dislike button was one of the biggest mistakes YouTube's ever made. I know why they did it. Everybody knows why they did it. But even the biggest like YouTube supporters didn't like it.
Yeah. When you get Marquise Brownlee saying it's a bad idea, and I mean I like him, but when you hear him saying it's a bad idea, and he's one of the biggest tech YouTubers on the platform, you know it's a mistake. So,
right.
But anyway,
we've just made 20 minutes of Elon Musk content into like a 2-hour show.
Yeah. We literally did what we set out to do.
Awesome.
But yeah, we still have a little bit on this Elon video, but so we can finish that. But I also know you have your dead internet theory video too.
Yeah, I mean it's a 15-minute video, so we might not be able to get to it, but I will link it in the chat for anybody that wants to see. The idea is I show exactly what Elon was talking about. One of those things is you run into people who have just weird wording in how they're replying to you, and they don't use punctuation properly, and they'll use like common sayings, but they'll use them in the wrong way. That's a bot. 100% of the time, that's a bot.
So I have a neat news update.
Sure, let's hear it.
Okay, so let me get it up here. All right. Neat news. Sex robots have long been predicted, but the industry has not yet materialized. Sex bots, as they are called, are android, mechanical devices that use artificial intelligence and are designed for humans to have sexual intercourse with. Despite the hype and the moral panic of the mid-2010s, the sex robot industry is still considered niche, with stigma and the expense and the emergence of other form of sex tech, making it unlikely that they'll ever become mainstream. In 2022, Bedbull, a sex toy review site, published a study that claimed that sex robot industry is worth about $200 million, and the average price is $3,567 per sex bot.
So like a fraction of a new car.
Wow.
You know,
Yes.
like if you're looking, I say that I you know, obviously a decent new car is going to run you what, like 20, right? So we're looking at the 10K, like a Kia. We're looking at like 2 sex bots is a Kia.
The conversation sex robots inspire has not gone away either. In November 2022, the 7th International Congress on the Love and Sex with Robots was held, virtually showing that academic interest in sex tech is surging alongside popular interests. Dr. Kate Delvin, an AI researcher from King's College London, is one of the world's top researchers in sex robots. She believes that sex with robots is about to be much more than just sex with robots.
That is the funniest sentence you have ever uttered.
Wow.
So that is my neat news update on the sex robot world.
That is a bit, I mean, it's funny, but it's also frightening a bit too, I guess.
Well,
Why?
like, what's the neat take on VR porn, right? That's probably where it's at. Look, the Quest 2, which I have one sitting on my desk, sold like ungodly numbers, and I have to imagine that a large segment of them use it just for porn.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, other sex tech is big. I mean, the problem with all these things is that they need to clean themselves.
Right.
Because that's the thing that people, men, I think, tend to underestimate about women, is it's really good is that they clean themselves. You don't have to clean them after.
True. So if you get a self-cleaning sex bot that can cook you dinner, you already got one up.
Yes. All right. That concludes neat news. You can continue, Sam.
Well, but then why date women at all, though, if you just have a robot?
I don't know. Why do you date women?
To perpetuate the species.
But when we have artificial wombs, won't that?
Now we are getting into dystopia here, Shmuley.
Dystopia? One man's dystopia is another man's utopia.
True.
Back to you, Sam.
He's got you there.
Oh boy. I may need to smoke some weed after this.
This has been a heavy show considering how fucking stupid we are,
We're like Cumtown, but for smart people.
Oof. Ooh. Oh, shots fired.
We no longer have our Stavros Halkias equivalent though, which is Apex. And if he were here, he would laugh at that and then call me a crippled bastard.
Hey, he stops in from time to time, and chat loves it. Chat, I mean, God, the last time he came on is like your fucking most viewed one ever.
Yeah.
So
So
he'll have to come fill in one of these times when we don't have guests. Scheduling falls through. Just be like, Apex, come on, quit being a pussy.
Yeah,
we love Apex.
Yeah, we do. We miss him. But we have. Let's see. Let me refresh the page here and see how many subs.
I didn't know he was sick.
We also love Smugly.
Yes, we do. I love my little brother Smugly. So
yeah, that's sticking now. Thanks, MAGA News Network. You came up with the best nickname I've ever heard.
Love it. Okay, let's see. We have 40. Well, we only have 48 subscribers.
Slack and chat, but hey, there's always next week.
There's always next week. So unfortunately, because of that, we're only going to be doing one game code giveaway.
Okay, and I have the one. Since like I said, I'm gonna have to. There's a little bit of a punishment involved. It's a treat with a punishment attached. So, the game for today is Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm. So you get a weeb game, chat. That's what you get. Now, if we get some more subscribers, I have non-weeb games that I can give away next week. And for any weebs, if you grab this code, get your Steam open now. You have about, I'm going to say 20 seconds, and then I'm going to drop it in chat. Actually, no, I have to wait 40 seconds because of the delay, right? I don't want everybody get ready. Gonna drop it in chat, and you can get yourself an anime game. I have no idea what a fucking Naruto is, but it has Japanese words in it, so it must be a fucking anime game.
Akaba would know if he were here.
I bet he would. So, I've killed enough time. I'm dropping it, chat. Here is your code. Every other time people have taken them, so somebody's fucking doing it. So here you go. Naruto Shippuden. And no, I'm not going to try and pronounce it right, you fucking weebs. I don't care. I don't speak Japanese. I'm American.
I can hear Akaba's explanation already. I don't know what he would explain, but I can already hear it. If that makes
he would just start talking about Racing Lagoon and how it's a better game, but I can't give a copy of that away. So
no, although
enjoy your weeb game.
On one of the last streams I did with him, I talked about how I watched a video on Racing Lagoon, and then I got lectured about, Sammy, you can't watch a video on Racing Lagoon. You have to play Racing Lagoon. And I'm like,
I don't speak Japanese.
Right, and I don't have an I don't have a PS1 emulator either.
Oh, there you go. That's a good excuse. I do. I have, I got my Steam Deck. And what's great is I've been running original Xbox emulators on it now. And so I got the original version of San Andreas before they censored the shit out of the remaster. That's pretty good. I've been playing that. Emulators are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, for whatever reason, it doesn't play Def Jam Fight for New York, and I'm sad because I just wanted to have DMX versus Busta Rhymes. Is that really so much to ask, universe? Sorry.
No, I don't think it is. So did anyone claim your code?
The code has been claimed. Congratulations to the fucking person that claimed it.
Alrighty.
Enjoy your anime, weeb.
And with that, first off,
we love our weebs. We love our weebs.
Let me check something.
We got the best weebs. Our weebs, they're the best. Nobody has better weebs than us.
True, very true. Two things. First off, if I go to Rumble here, let's see.
Yeah, dead air. That's the best kind of air. If anybody ever wonders why I kind of bloviate endlessly sometimes, it's because if Sam's doing something, I try to fill dead air. It's what I'm good at because I was in radio.
Which I really appreciate that. You're going to appreciate what I'm about to do even more, Max, which is...
Oh, God. This sounds dangerous.
Everybody press that like button.
Congrats, Max. You are officially a mod on my Rumble channel now.
That's it. Everybody's banned in chat now.
Also, Rumble, you need to make it easier to add mods because I would rather just click on Max's name in chat and say add mod and not have to copy and paste his username, open another tab, and go into settings and do all that. But hey,
see that one guy who said that we came to just take over your show. Now he's been proven right, but it's too late. I have the power, chat. No, maybe.
I gave him the power. Also, Vicious Vickers is also a mod on the channel.
Who in the hell is that?
Long story. We don't want to see. To explain that, we have to talk about somebody that doesn't deserve the attention right now.
But yeah. But anyway, folks.
Yes,
Short
Dev.
Fat Otaku.
By the way, you mentioned the Dev thing earlier. We didn't talk about it because the Bud Light thing is like beaten to fucking death. But I will say this: he did a community post on YouTube, basically responding to you and everybody else because he's getting completely fucking dunked on for his take in that video about Bud Light today. So, hey, chat, if you want to know about Bud Light, I suggest go check out Short Fat Otaku's video from today talking about it, and then tell him what you think of his video. I don't need to tell you what to think because you'll watch it and you'll have an opinion.
And that's good. And that's always good. And from my end, folks, stay out of trouble. Drink. While we're talking about beer, drink Yingling, not Budweiser. Yingling.
I drink Sam Adams. If it's on tap, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like Sam Adams. I like Oktoberfest.
To be fair, they have put out like a fucking Pride variety pack, so like they're not immune. But everybody does that. Like it's just like free money to. Oh yeah, we love the gays. Here, buy our gay stuff.
Well, we love the gays here at the Whitfield.
Yeah, we love the gays. Just not in a gay way.
Yeah. No, we do.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the ones that agree with us.
True.
Yeah, the ones
those are my favorite kind.
Yeah, the ones that are non-preachy about it. We do love those ones. But anyway. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we'll be back next week. Maybe we'll have a guest, maybe not with the way things are going. If we do,
it's almost certain, sir.
Oh, good. So, anyway, have a good weekend, everyone, and stay out of trouble. And
get into trouble.
And Trump 2024. I'm just putting that out there now.
That's right. So. Train got no brakes, baby.
Nope. Alrighty, folks. Talk at you down the road.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.